Hey guys, it's SJ. Happy Baby Name Monday. If you are brand new, my name's SJ. I'm a member of 3. I do parenting videos here on my channel, but every single Monday I make a new baby name list. I've been doing it for ages. I will link them below, and we've got the nicest bunch of people here. So hi everyone, I hope you're really well. It is the kids' summer holidays, not summer holidays, half-term holidays. So I will do it fast. So I'm not going to talk about them each for as long as I normally do, because I love giving you all the stats and facts and figures. But these aren't technically names. These are everyday words that could make amazing baby names. It's kind of inspired by Sam, our new Sam Kardashian over in the US. What do you think of his name? But yeah, it's a really popular trend at the moment. What do you think of it? I think it's really cool if you're looking for something unusual. Honestly, you will find something you like on this list. You're going to fall in love hard, I reckon. So let's get on with the list. Okay, so the first name I have on my list is the name Sage. This isn't such a wacky out there one, but I absolutely love. I think it works for a boy or a girl. Do you think of it as one or the other? Of course, it is the herb, but also to be sage means to be kind of wise and spiritual. So it's a really lovely name choice, I think. It doesn't sound too out there. I'm easing you in. What do you reckon of the name Sage? One that is a bit weird, but I wanted to put it right up front because I'm in love with it. And it is the name of Busy Phillips' daughter called Cricket. Now, I absolutely love this. It's my favourite one on this list. I've had it like in my back pocket for so many months doing these baby name lists. I had a doll when I was younger called Cricket. Do you have a cricket doll? I think it's the best name ever. It's obviously a little animal, the cricket. The cricket, the game, is really popular here in the UK. And I just think it sounds really fun, really youthful and out there, but really cool. So I am a big fan of the name Cricket. You know, we have names like Scout that we've talked about a lot here. So why not Cricket? What do you reckon of it? Now, there's a lot of like virtue names out there that we're using a lot, like Connie, Constance, Verity, and all of those, and they're really popular. And there are some lovely ones that I found looking into word names. So one I really like is the name Bliss. Bliss means happy, and I absolutely love it. It's actually a surname in my family. So my cousin has the surname Bliss, so it'd be a bit strange if I used it, but I should have done. Missed out on that one, but yeah, it's a great name. And I have to just pause actually and say a huge congratulations to Delilah on the birth of Theodore Blythe. Blythe is a beautiful middle spot name. It would perfectly fit onto my list. Delilah, if you don't know, is a Canadian vlogger. Live Up Keys Life. I will link her channel below, but yes, just thought of Blythe and I was saying it because Blythe also means happiness, and it's just such a great choice for her. And I know she heard it on one of my lists, so I feel very honoured to have helped her name her little boy, and you will love her channel if you are about to have a baby. She's just had Theodore and her channel is lush. So Bliss, Blythe, beautiful. I also love Blessing or Blessy. So I was just recently travelling and I heard the name Blessy a lot over in Ghana. And how gorgeous is that? Bessie, of course, is the short form for Elizabeth. But Blessy, I just think is so pretty. So pretty. Such a gorgeous first name for a little girl. Looking at sort of times of the day, I have talked about the name evening before, but there are a few more that I really like. Pretty much like all of them. But I even like the name day. What do you think of the name Day? I just think it's a really great one, specifically for a middle spot. Obviously, we just lost Doris Day, who was one of my icons, but I think Day is a beautiful name for a middle spot for a boy or a girl. One name that is getting used a bit is the name Early. That sounds really nice, doesn't it? Obviously, Earl is a vintage male name, and Early, it's just a lovely name. It sounds like kind of like it could be a name. Obviously, we know that a lot of babies come early, so it might be a bit of a strange one. I've never been early since I've become a mum, so I don't know what you think of the name Early, but it's out there, it's getting used. There were a few babies named it recently. Would you go for the name Early? Time of day is another great one, like midnight. So Nicole Richie has Sparrow Midnight, and I really like that as well. And sticking with that kind of theme, you can also think about nature around time of day. Starlit is such a cool name, isn't it? If you like the names like Scarlet, Starlit, it's just so pretty. It's a bit like being a little starlet in Hollywood, but I just think Starlit has got such a magical quality to it, and with names like Luna and all of those Cosmo and all of the kind of space themed names and meme themed names that we're liking at the moment, Starlit is so boho and festival goer and gorgeous, very hippie. One I prefer maybe a little bit more is Moonlight I really like that for a little boy. I could definitely see myself having Finn Moonlight. I just really like it. I think Moonlight is so sort of, almost could be gothy and kind of dark, or it can be like really romantic and kind of like out on the lake in the moonlight and kind of like that song Dancing in the Moonlight. I think it's amazing. So there's lots of names like Lyric that are out there and kind of musical names. Harper, of course, being used. Psalm itself is even a name that dates back to being a rhythm or a song. So I like kind of those musical types of names, Piper, Pfeiffer, all of those we talked about before, and then would come under occupational names. But taking it a step further into normal words that we associate with kind of poetry or with music is another good one. So you could have something like Love Song. This is such a romantic name, isn't it? I was literally thinking I could have Evelina Love Song and be pretty happy with my choice. My sister's daughter's middle name is Loveday, which is really, really nice, and it was a traditional surname around the UK, Loveday, and our singing teacher was actually Mrs. Loveday, and then her daughter randomly was born early on Valentine's Day, so she's Lottie Loveday, and I think Loveday or Love Song are beautiful middle spots. I even came across the name Ballad being talked about on forums, so that's a really interesting one. That sounds quite edgy for a boy. Like, I think that sounds boyish to me, Ballad. It makes him sound kind of like a really good, sporty, kind of handsome guy to me, but yeah, I liked Ballad. Or the name Tempo. Tempo is an unusual one. We have Allegra and names like that already in use, but Tempo is a bit different, and I think it sounds really good for like a real musical family. It doesn't sound like too unusual because we have names like Tim, Timothy, Tempo. Sounds really like bang on trend and hipster the more I say it. Like banjo's been around for a while. I know it's quite highly used over in Australia, but Tempo is a good one, I reckon. Sonnet is another one that has been used before, and it's a really beautiful name. Sunny is a cute little nickname for it, but I really like Sonnet. So other names you can have are quite cutesy names within this type of list. So names like Cozy. Cozy is lovely, and it's a great short name for cassette. I think we talked about it as a nickname name before, but I just wanted to add into this list because we say things are cozy all the time with the new hygge trend over from Scandinavia. I think cozy makes a beautiful name, and it doesn't need to be just a nickname. It could be a name all by itself. Colour names are so popular, but we're not using all of them. How about the name Gold? Gold is really great. We have Goldie, but we don't use gold by itself, and I think it sounds really, really classic and lovely and unique. Or similar to that, you could have something like the name Honey. So honey is kind of like a deep, rich colour as well as being a sweet food. It's used quite a bit. It is kind of a celebrity baby name already. There's a couple of celebrities who have the name Honey here in the UK. It's obviously a term of endearment, so kind of like cozy and honey sound really, really lovely together. And it's a name I've always really, really liked, but would never be daring enough to use it. My husband would always veto it, but I really like the name Honey. Another place to look for kind of word names as names is kind of places, like unusual places, like the name Harbour is one that I genuinely really, really loved and would have used. Harbour is such a great name. I see it as a little boy name, but it could be totally for a girl as well. I also love the name Park. I don't know if any of you have read the book Eleanor and Park, but I was obsessed with it, and the boy's name was Park, and I just think it's a great one. And obviously we go down to the park and the playground with the kids all the time, but sort of unusual little places that you go. Even the name Street, that came up on a few forums. What do you think of the name Street? So some people have used it as a middle name. So one of the celebrities has a Stella Street. I think it's a really, really good one. Names like Pebbles. So Pebbles always reminds me of the Flintstones, but little kind of like natural things like pebbles. Even moss, we've talked about moss before, and I know it's a favourite amongst us. What do you reckon of pebbles and moss and those types of nature names? I think they're great. Leaf is a great one as well. Petal is one I've written down. It's one of, again, my all-time favourites that I know that Henrik would never go for, but I think Petal is absolutely beautiful. Reef is a brilliant nature name. Obviously the coral reef, and we use the name coral a lot, but reef doesn't get used a lot. And why not? It's such a cool boy's name, particularly if you have links to the sea. It's such a cool surfer-esque type of outdoorsy guy name that would suit a little boy right through to his teenage years, and I can see an older guy being a reef as well. I also really liked Horizon when I was looking into sort of words that would make great names, and sticking with that outdoorsy theme, Horizon. That works. It's a little unusual. It's not too dissimilar to a name like Harry. Horizon. I really like that one with the strong Z. I think it could be a popular choice amongst you. Let me know in the comments below. And then really out there kind of strong names. There are names like Domino. So Domino was a classic name that has been around in the past. I always think of Domino's Pizza now, which would be hilarious for me to use this as a name because I ate so much Domino's Pizza when I was pregnant. But I really like it. Domino the game is really popular as well. I think it is a really great strong name with those strong O sounds that we really like. A name like Legacy is a great virtue name. I'm surprised that this hasn't come up. Maybe it was on Kim and Kanye's long list because I think it could be a contender for a kind of Kardashian big celebrity name like theirs. Legacy, obviously we talk about leaving a legacy, and I just think it is a great way of our children are a lot of the time our legacies, and I think it sounds nice. It's got a nice rhythm to it as a name. There are some sort of bad boy names you can choose from this type of list. The name Rebel, obviously the female Rebel Wilson, has made this kind of everyday, but no one talks about her name, but it's such a strange name. To be a rebel is to be like kind of a little bit off the beaten track and a little bit naughty, and I just think it is such a sweet name, but you might be setting yourself up if you called your child Rebel. I really like the name Spike. I've always liked the name Spike, like Spike Jones, Spike Lee. There's some great well-known creative men called Spike, and I think it works. It's a really great name and a really trendy one as well, but it's not getting used very much. Taking that one step further, you could go with something like Shade. So that's definitely got a bad boy vibe, doesn't it, if you were called Shade? But I think it works again. I think it sounds really trendy. So say you were called like Timothy Shade, you sound a bit like a kind of a 1950s detective from a film noir or something, but you know, you could go with it. Names like Quest were coming up. So we have names like Atlas, really popular at the moment, and those kind of explorer names. Journey is also being used, but Quest is a bit more unusual, and I think it really works again. I think it sounds really unusual and nice for somebody looking to push the boundaries a little bit more. Then going back to names that kind of sound a bit virtuesque and old-fashioned, names like Wit. So for somebody very funny, you could have the name Wit, which sounds really lovely, I think, for a middle spot. Names like True, of course, was used by my favourite Kardashian, who is Khloe. And you allowed a favourite Kardashian? I think you are. Mine is definitely Khloe. I love her, and I loved it when she called her daughter True. I just think it's beautiful. Or Truman for a boy. One of my all-time favourite names, and one that I would be considering if I was having another baby. But I also love the name Tuppence. So Tuppence is an old-fashioned penny, like here in the UK, and there's an actress out at the moment called Tuppence Middleton who's making this a bit more mainstream. I just think it is brilliant. It is so cute, so vintage, such a cool word to use as a name. How about the name Promise? Promise is a really lovely virtue name that's not being used very much, and I think it is really nice, with Primrose being so popular. Promise sounds just as pretty to me, and of course it's a lovely way of bestowing a sort of thought onto your baby, like Evelina Promise. Sounds lovely, and I really like that as a middle spot for a little girl or a boy. So a bit of a different name list from me today, not loads of stats and facts because these are all just general words that you could use for baby names. I've had this list going for so many months just on my phone, so I wanted to just blurt them all out, let you know, and see what you think of them in the comments below. Which ones stood out for you that you loved? Which ones stood out for you that you hated? We can take it. We don't mind here. It's all about having fun with baby names because we love them. Happy Bank Holiday Monday. Do come back next week where I will be doing an A to Z of rare boy names that I love, and it's with a very special YouTuber guest as well, partnership. So yes, I'd love you to hit subscribe, share this list with a friend you think might like it, and I will see you very soon. Lots of love, guys. Bye bye.